One of Indonesia's most active volcanoes, Mount Lewotobi Laki-Laki, has erupted 2 days in a row, spewing ash up to 18 kilometers into the sky and blanketing villages with debris, but no casualties have been reported.
인도네시아에서 가장 활동이 활발한 화산에 속하는 르워토비 라키라키 화산이 이틀 연속 분화하면서 화산재가 18km 상공까지 뿜어져 나오고 각종 잔해가 인근 마을을 뒤덮었습니다. 인명피해는 하지만 나오지 않은 것으로 전해졌습니다.
Fortunately,
yeah.
right?
Definitely, fortunately.
This eruption occurred on Friday evening, and ash was seen spewing up to 10 kilometers into the sky, and it lit up the night sky there. But according to Indonesia's geology agency, there were also observations of an avalanche of searing gas clouds mixed with rock.
산사태.
Rocks, and lava traveling up to 5 kilometers down the slopes of the mountain. Volcanic material, including this gravel that was the size of people's thumbs, was thrown up to 8 kilometers in the air. These are all projectiles that can cause a lot of damage. The last time this eruption came at this mountain was a month ago, actually, back on July 7th.
Right.
And it forced a delay and cancellation of dozens of flights out of the popular resort island of Bali there as well. So let's hope the damage is contained, but there's really nothing you can do with volcano eruptions, right? It is a phenomenon of Mother Nature that is very devastating sometimes.
Definitely. Were the people evacuated? Is that how they are safe, I believe, from
Oftentimes
this?
there's a radius that's set up
Right.
for people to evacuate, to be out of harm's way.
Because it is very scary that it says ash blanketed villages. Let's look at that verb first.
Yeah, if you blanket as a verb, like you said, it means to cover something. And oftentimes in large amounts, it could be literal, where we're talking about here ash or snow, but it could be figurative as well. Silence blanketed the crowd when the host told an unfunny joke or something like that. So sadness blanketed the room when the bad news was heard, things like that. So to blanket.
To blanket as a verb, when we use the word for 이불 in English, blanket, it means 뒤덮다. 이불을 침대로 뒤덮는 것처럼 you blanket something, that means you cover it entirely. So we talk about the weather a lot, snow blankets entire towns and countries during the winter time. And right now we're seeing ash, unfortunately, blanketing villages in some cases because of this volcano. But yeah, I mean, it's figurative. It can be literal as well. So as you said, sort of mood or stillness can blanket an area.
There's also an expression, a blanket statement. If you make a blanket statement, it's a broad sort of generalization of something. There's no nuance or anything like that.
Yeah.
So when you say all Koreans are good looking, that's a blanket statement. Whether it's true or not, it's a generalization, for example.
Right. One of my favorite motivational not motivational speakers, but she's a writer. And she's from Nigeria. Give me a second to think about her name. And one of the things she said was there's this danger of a single story. And people tend to have just biases and stereotypes about people of a certain nation or a race or something. And she's from Nigeria. She has dark skin. And she says she's come across people. Her name is Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. And, oftentimes people will just look at her and say, oh, you must be from a poor country. And, she's living in America and stuff. So how great it is that you're here now, But the thing is, she has such an interesting backstory to her life.
Sure.
She grew up pretty in a well-to-do family. Her father was a professor, and she herself has been writing ever since she was a child. She's a prolific writer herself, and she's not like the typical stereotypical person from the African continent, which, again, you cannot say is like this in a blanket statement.
Right.
And then she will jokingly say, oh, it's so funny because I read this story about American serial killers. And, are you one of those?
Sure.
And so she'll jokingly, say, I'm going to put a single story to you, you American. But it's dangerous sometimes if you make a blanket statement about any nation or any people.
So you're covering the entire broad spectrum
dangerous.
of,
Yeah, exactly.
That's where blanket comes from.
얘기하다 보니까 거기까지 갔네요. What about in a row?
Yeah, if something's in a row, it's happening one after the other, one after another, without interruption. If you work with spreadsheets like Excel, you have rows and you have columns. So in a row, there's often repetition or streaks.
Exactly. 연속으로, in a row, consecutively, 줄줄이 되겠죠. All right. Let me read this one more time. One of Indonesia's most active volcanoes, Mount Lewotobi Laki-Laki, has erupted 2 days in a row, spewing ash up to 18 kilometers into the sky and blanketing villages with debris. But no casualties have been reported. Here's our next headline.
Tottenham Hotspur's captain Son Heung-min has announced he will leave the club this summer after 10 years, having scored 173 goals and leading the team to its first trophy in 17 years with a Europa League final win over Manchester United in May.
영국 프리미어리그 토트넘 헛스퍼의 주장 손흥민 선수가 올여름에 팀을 떠난다고 발표했습니다. 10년간 헛스퍼 제적 기간 동안 173골을 넣은 손흥민 선수는 주장으로 있던 지난 5월 유로파리그 결승에서 맨체스터 유나이티드에 승리해 팀 역사상 17년 만에 주요 대회 우승컵을 들어 올리기도 했습니다.
Yeah, it truly is the end of an era, at least in the Premier League for Son Heung-min. And what more can I say to really talk about all of his accomplishments, both not just off the pitch, but I think how he conducted himself really, truly, despite what his father says, he is a legend.
He is a legend.
Yes.
And you know, in many votes across England, he has been voted as the most respected footballer in the whole of England. Yeah. So that just goes to show it's not just his skills on the football pitch, but it's just his mannerisms, his humbleness, his sense of humor, everything combined.
Yeah, so he is a consummate professional, I think. And oftentimes in this day and age where professional athletes are sometimes, this is a blanket statement, where they're often depicted as these sort of greedy, rich, overpaid sort of athletes with egos. Yeah. But I don't think Son Heung-min is. I think he's a very genuine person. And what you see, and on the pitch, what he's done for football, not just across the world or in England, but in Asia especially, he really brought football to another level. And he has passed the torch on from Park Ji-sung at Manchester United to Son Heung-min, and now hopefully the next Son Heung-min or the next Park Ji-sung can come. But now it seems like all reports, it's not confirmed yet, but he will make a move over to North America, to Major League Soccer, where he's linked right now, not confirmed, with LAFC. So he might be sort of taking his next step in his career to LAFC.
Was that the team that David Beckham was with? Or is that a different team?
No, that's the LA Galaxy.
Oh, I see.
That's another team in Los Angeles, but in the same league, yes.
All right. Well, Son Heung-min, Captain Sonny, will be leaving Tottenham Hotspur. And
nice one, Sonny.
Yeah, exactly. That's what people say. Yeah.
Yes.
Nice one, Sonny. That's the sort of motto people always say. He will be leaving the club.
Yeah, so in soccer or in football, they're often referred to as clubs, right? Yes. In North America, they're teams. But when you leave a club, you're departing. And that can be voluntary or involuntary by retirement, you're released, you're traded, you're transferred, or just by mutual agreement, which I think is in this case with Son Heung-min.
Exactly. So a club here is a football team. So he's going to be leaving his team is basically what it means when it says he's leaving the club. And he's been leading the team, not to be confused with leaving.
No.
The pronunciation is a little bit similar.
Leaving. Yeah. He was doing one. He's doing one now. But you're guiding or you're directing a team. And it doesn't have to be a sporting team. It could be at work. It could be a group function as well. Right?
Sure. He was the leader of his team. Because he's the captain. So he was leading the team. And in this case, it says team. But team and club can be used interchangeably in this case. All right, Let's read the headline again. Tottenham Hotspur's captain Son Heung-min has announced he will leave the club this summer after 10 years, having scored 173 goals and leading the team to its first trophy in 17 years with a Europa League final win over Manchester United in May. And moving on, here's our final headline.
Cold Nordic countries are being scorched by truly unprecedented heat, with parts of the Arctic Circle in Norway recording over 30 degrees Celsius on 13 days in July, and Finland enduring 3 consecutive weeks of such heat, the longest streak since records began in 1961.
추운 북유럽 국가들이 올해 진정 전례가 없는 폭염에 시달리고 있습니다. 노르웨이의 북극권 일부 지역은 7월 한 달 중 13일간 기온이 섭씨 30도를 넘었으며 핀란드에서는 그런 날씨가 3주 연속 이어져 관측이 시작된 1961년 이래 최장 기간 지속된 30도 이상 더위로 기록됐습니다.
Yeah, so the third weather-related story we're talking about today, and it's not just here in Korea, but typically this part of the world is thought of as very cold.
Yeah.
But imagine parts of Norway recording temperatures above 30 degrees for nearly 2 weeks straight. Finland saw 3 weeks straight of 30-degree heat, and scientists say it's the longest streak since such records were recorded dating back all the way to the 1960s, and it's 50% longer than the previous records. So we're seeing these sort of phenomena happening all over the world.
Exactly. I'm glad you said Finland there in English, because in Korean, when we write Finland, I think in the Korean grammar, you want to say Finland. However, in English, when there's an N followed by a L, you have to pronounce both of those consonants.
Yeah.
For example, online. You can't say online. That doesn't make sense in English. And you can't say Finland because then people won't understand which country you're talking about.
If my middle school grammar is correct, is it 자음동화, where we see 진리 happen?
Don't ask me about Korean grammar, but maybe. I think so. I'm
so it's not Finland.
Sure. No, it's not. Right, in
you
English.
You have to pronounce the N.
That's right, yes. So this is just an English pronunciation thing that can be confusing with the Korean pronunciation. So in English, you have to pronounce the N in Finland.
Yeah. Okay. 설렁 is another one that confuses me.
Right. So that's a Korean word.
Yes.
So we say 설렁.
But it's not Finland.
Not 선능.
Right.
But in English, if the word derives from an English word, then you should say the N before the L. All right, let's have a look at Nordic countries.
Yeah, the Nordic countries are countries up in that region. There's 5 of them: Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Finland, and Iceland, not to be confused with Scandinavian countries, which is, I believe, Iceland, Norway, and Sweden.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. But these Nordic countries, Nordic is this region. There's a winter sport called Nordic Combined in the Olympics. It's a combination of ski jumping and cross country.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Nordic countries는 북유럽 국가들을 얘기하고 있습니다. 보통 이제 지금 얘기하고 있는 Sweden, Norway, Iceland, Finland, Denmark.
Yeah.
And to endure something?
Yeah, to endure, E-N-D-U-R-E, means to suffer through something or withstand something very difficult or unpleasant.
견디다, to endure, E-N-D-U-R-E. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. Cold Nordic countries are being scorched by truly unprecedented heat, with parts of the Arctic Circle in Norway recording over 30 degrees Celsius on 13 days in July, and Finland enduring 3 consecutive weeks of such heat, the longest streak since records began in 1961. Right, well, that's it for the 5 headlines with Shane.